You're listening to Strange by Nature, your guide to the strange, weird, unbelievable, and improbable wonders of the natural world.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here today. I am Kirk Mona, and I am joined today by Rachel Ginza and Victoria Thompson. We are all professional naturalists who together have scoured the world for weird and wonderful wonders just to please your mammalian brain's desire for novelty. Isn't that nice? Let's do this.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's show.
Woo! Hey, good to be here, as always.
Yeah. I'm kicking things off, and my story begins with Jocelyn Bell. She was born in 1943 in Northern Ireland, and she became interested in astronomy and physics, and then she eventually worked her way up to be a post-grad research student in 1967, where she got to do something pretty cool.
Okay.
She helped build, I love the name of this, the Interplanetary Scintillation Array.
Yes.
Which is such a cool sounding thing to get to work on.
Okay.
And it was pretty cool.
Sounds awesome.
The name sounds fancy, but it's essentially just a bunch of antennas that can be used as a radio telescope.
That's so cool.
Now, back when she helped build it, the array covered 4 acres. So that's about 4 football fields in size. It eventually expanded to 9 acres.
Oh, wow.
And was made up of over 4,000 dipole antennas. Now, for those of you who aren't massive nerds like me, a dipole antenna is just an antenna with 2 halves. So if you've ever adjusted the metal bunny ear antennas on a TV back in the old days, you have touched a type of dipole antenna. So fun side fact. So imagine 4,000 antennas.
Oh my gosh.
Fun side fact about the Interplanetary Scintillation Array. They couldn't mow under all those antennas because of all the wires and things like that.
Right.
So they just had a huge herd of goats that would walk under the antenna and keep the grass short.
That's awesome.
Excuse me. Did you say geese?
Goats.
Goats.
Goats. That makes more sense.
Goats. Yeah.
I mean, if it was geese, they would be attack geese at that point. They would eat the grass too.
It's not really important.
Anyway.
Not really important to today's story, but I thought it was a cool fact. Now, Jocelyn Bell not only helped build this radio telescope, she helped test it out.
Ooh.
And while testing it, she noticed something strange, like in the signals they were receiving, and she pointed it out to her advisor, and he told her to ignore it because it was likely just some sort of interference they were getting.
Right.
Well, she was pretty kick-ass and curious, and so she ignored the know-it-all man in charge and investigated the strange signal she was detecting. Yeah, pretty awesome. So, turns out, unlike interference from something on Earth, it became clear that the rapid signal that was pulsing every 1.3 seconds was coming from space, as it was always found in the same part of the sky. And you could tell it was something moving overhead that came by at the same time each day. Turns out she was the first human to ever detect a pulsar, a completely new class of celestial object.
That's so cool.
The discovery, it's very cool. The discovery was so huge that the Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to none other than the guy who told her to ignore it. That's right. Once again, the dude gets all the credit.
Who would have guessed?
To be fair, he did very quickly come around to realize that she had discovered something, and they went on to together publish a paper together. He was actually the guy who had designed the telescope, and since he was the actual lead researcher, his name went on the paper, and he actually did do a lot of the work to kind of figure out what it was and whatnot. She was the one to make the initial discovery with his telescope, though, and people are a little bit bitter that she wasn't named on the Nobel Prize. I will say, for her part, at least publicly, she actually agreed that she shouldn't have gotten it, and she said that that research lab students generally shouldn't get Nobel Prizes. But she did all right for herself. Moving forward, she was later the president of the Royal Astronomical Society.
Oh, that seems like a pretty big deal, probably.
Yeah,
awesome.
And the president of the Institute of Physics. She was later awarded $3 million for the Special Breakthrough Prize in Fundamental Physics in 2018.
Oh, wow.
And what did she do with the $3 million? She didn't go buy a fancy car or anything. She established a fund to help female, minority, and refugee students become physics researchers.
Oh, I love her even more.
Good for her.
She's pretty awesome.
Sounds amazing.
Now, the real strange part of my topic this week is what she discovered, and that's pulsars.
Mm-hmm.
And so
They're weird.
You know, it was pretty shocking to receive this regular pulse from outer space. And she and her boss, the guy who actually got the Nobel Prize, initially joked that it might be a signal from aliens. They didn't actually take that real seriously, but they thought about it enough that they actually informally labeled the signal LGM1, standing for Little Green Men 1.
So good.
They actually had a few conversations about how to responsibly tell people if, like, indeed it was something as strange as aliens. Like, how do you break that news to people? So it was something that actually came up very quickly, though. They discovered that...
Good discussion to have.
Yeah, but they quickly, as they do using this telescope and whatnot, they started to discover more pulsars, and it became clear that this was just a natural phenomenon. So what is a pulsar? You may remember many episodes ago, I think it was like episode 7, I talked about neutron stars. If you haven't listened to that, go back. It's a really heavy topic. Terrible. Sorry. You're welcome.
This is where you remind us that you are a dad.
That I'm a dad. That's right. Neutron stars are basically the collapsed cores of stars that are left behind after a supernova, right? So you can think of them as failed black holes in a way. Like if there had been more mass, they would have kept shrinking down to a black hole, but they didn't quite get there. And they are, even though they're not black holes, they are just unimaginably dense and so bizarre. If you go back and listen to that the episode, it'll refresh your memory. But just one little fact out of there is that if you can imagine a star twice the mass of our sun, so really, really big, right? And you compress it into a ball 7 miles across, that's how big a neutron star or a pulsar would be, right? And 1 teaspoon of that material, 1 teaspoon would weigh 10 million tons.
Yeah.
Breaks your brain.
I remember my mind being blown when you did the neutron star episode.
Exactly.
And it's still blown.
My brain is still blown by these things.
Right. We believe that pulsars actually they're neutron stars. That's what they are. The difference between a neutron star, though, and what we call a pulsar is that the pulsar has retained the angular momentum of the original star, or in less nerdy terms, it's spinning. That's what it is. It's a spinning neutron star. And the pulses we detect can be thought of as like a beam from a rotating lighthouse. So if it is pointed at us the correct way, as it goes around, these radio waves like whoop, whoop, go like shooting out every time it rotates around.
Okay.
Now, how fast do they rotate? Well, do you want to hear some samples?
At least 1.3 seconds.
Okay, well, if it's hitting us every 1.3 seconds and it's
7 miles
really far
across,
away.
And it's far away, yeah.
That's very fast.
That's so
well,
fast.
We're going to start
I
off.
didn't even think about that. Oh, goodness.
We're going to start off with the sound of a pulsar here. It's named B0329-54. It's an exciting name. It rotates 1.4 times a second. So listen to this here. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sort of a thump, thump,
Click,
thump.
click, click.
The clicking.
Click.
All right,
click.
that's very similar to that first one that was discovered. So they're hearing this like thump, 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 and you can see why they'd be like, okay, well, this is just interference.
Weird.
We're getting interference from some piece of equipment. Turns out, no, this is coming from outer space.
It's consistent. Like, where else would it be coming from? Yeah.
Exactly. We don't usually find things that are so sort of consistent like that in nature. Now, up next, we have one that's going a little faster. We have the Vela pulsar. It sounds, I think, just like the spin cycle on my washing machine. The entire thing rotates 11 times per second. It sounds like this.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's
so fast.
Crazy fast for something
It does sound
that
like a
massively
washing machine
rotating.
on a spin cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This it's hard to picture something so big rotating so fast. But I tell you what, you want to go faster?
What?
Let's go faster. The Crab Nebula
Okay.
the Crab Nebula pulsar rotates 30 times per second. So imagine like
What?
30 times in a second. It's gonna be rotating. This is actually historically
so
significant,
dizzy.
both because it was one of the first pulsars studied, because they kind of went, well, if it is a neutron star, we're pretty sure there's a neutron star at the core of the Crab Nebula. So let's listen there. And sure enough, they found a pulsar there where they expected to. It's also really cool because we know that a supernova created the Crab Nebula because Chinese astronomers actually observed the supernova take place in the year 1054. And we can now
That's so
see the
cool.
remains
Wow.
of that in space. So very cool. And
That's
this is what
so cool.
this is what it sounds like.
Ah.
It's like a weed whipper.
Yeah,
It
so
sounds
that's
like
30
an
times a
electric
second.
motor, or like if you like the door stoppers and you flick one. Sounds like
Yep,
that.
except that would like slow down over time. This is just
Right.
going like this for thousands of years,
Ever.
which is pretty amazing. I'm going to play one more
That's
for
so
you.
Cool.
My last sound is, I couldn't find the fastest. This is the second fastest pulsar yet detected. You guys, it's going so fast. It rotates 642 times per second.
What?
And at that rate,
Wow.
the pulsar itself is rotating at 1/7 the speed of light to make the rotation that fast. And if we take that radio waves and we convert it into audio, it sounds like this.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
It's awful. I'm gonna stop that. Horrible sound.
Yeah, that's a
But
really
that is-
high pitched, horrible.
Yeah, now keep in mind, it's rotating 642 times per second, so we're getting 2 pulses for every rotation, because it's like a lighthouse with a light going in both directions.
Yeah.
So pretty wild. I could go on and on about how cool pulsars are, but I do need to wrap up because it's going long. I wanted to let you know that my main source for facts and dates this week was Wikipedia. And the sounds you heard were actually compiled in a cool video that you can check out if you want to hear these more. It's called The Sound of Pulsars by the YouTube channel Cosmoknowledge. So you can check that out. And it was fun to
So
return
nerdy,
to
Kurt.
space for some nerdy space nature. There you go. We're
Thanks,
going
Kurt.
to
Thanks, Kirk.
shoot to a break. And then Rachel, are you going to bring us back down to Earth?
I am.
All right. We'll see you soon. Hey everybody, it's Kirk. This show is listener supported. So what you're hearing is content that was supported by the members of our Patreon group, the Society of Strange. You can support the show and join the society over at patreon.com/strangebynature. Go check it out, see some of the benefits, and help support a show you enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone. So, I actually wanted to talk about something pretty specific today, just to kind of go along with what I did last week, but not in the same vein. So
Okay.
Okay. Oh, is it is it very
Are you going to
pedantic?
tell us what's a fruit and what's a vegetable?
I mean, I could, but I won't.
Okay.
No. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about something that I found really interesting, and I was doing research on something else that I saw, a really cool insect that I saw, and I was doing more research into it, and I found out about this. I found out about just tangentially and about this topic, and I
Spit
was
it
like,
out.
what? Anyway, so today I am going to talk a little bit about hummingbirds, but more in a broad sense, not like talking about any specific hummingbirds,
Cool.
which are cool on their own right? They are primarily nectar drinking little birds They have the smallest bird in the world among them at the bee hummingbird, which is the size of a bumblebee. They're so cute. And they're one of, if not the only bird that can fly backwards. And there's a lot of really cool things about hummingbirds. But as
I will
always,
say, I got to jump in and say one thing though, because you said they're primarily nectar eaters, and one of the things people
they
always
do
overlook,
also eat insects as well.
spiders. They're big on eating spiders. A lot of them.
Oh.
But everyone thinks about like the flowers. It's like, well, that's just what they're drinking, not what they're eating.
Yeah, they also
that's
eat
my
things
pedantry coming through. Go ahead.
Well, that's hilarious. Actually, because what I really wanted to talk about today is some of the things that eat hummingbirds.
Oh, we're going the other way. All right. What eats
We're going the other way.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and I see why that's ironic. Okay.
yeah, thanks. Oh, good. So
We're getting
the reason
there.
why I
All
want
right.
to talk about this
I'm with
is
you.
because they are relatively small. So like some things are really obvious that of what would eat a hummingbird. Like their eggs, for example, like make for tasty snacks for like a squirrel or like a
Sure.
rat snake, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's totally not necessarily unheard of. But some things that I learned, I was like, what? So hummingbirds, one of their main predators some of their predators are things like praying mantis.
Oh.
So
Wow. Okay.
I know praying mantis can
Yeah.
get decently large, but generally speaking, we don't think of them as being large enough to take down a small bird.
Right.
No.
And they can. Another one which makes sense too is like sharp-shinned hawks are pretty
Sure.
common predators as well. As well as largemouth bass. If they are flying over water, the bass will jump out and eat them.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
What is the hummingbird doing hanging out
Yeah.
over the lake?
Well,
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
wondering.
I don't know. It could also be hanging out near the edge. Maybe there are flowers or
I'm sure.
near the edge, and
Okay,
the
all right.
bass come up and they see the bird and they go hop. Nice little
Wow.
snack for them.
What a way to go.
Right? A fish. You didn't even know it existed, and all of a sudden you're in its belly. Green frogs and bullfrogs have been recorded eating
Wow.
ruby-throated hummingbirds in particular.
Really?
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
Yikes. I mean,
That's-
bullfrogs
'Cause
can
those
get
are not. I mean, they're
they can
like
get real big.
not huge, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For context, like a bullfrog or a green frog, they're generally like 3 to 4 inches in like body length. So you don't think, but apparently they have been documented to eating hummingbirds.
Wow.
Another
I
one
feel like it
with
would be really sharp to swallow a hummingbird and its pointy little
its
bill.
beak. Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
since they don't have teeth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
bullfrogs, yeah, they can get like up to 2 pounds, I think, in weight. So they're hefty.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another predator of a hummingbird is orb weaving spiders. So not only are they eating spiders, but spiders are eating them.
Eating them, yeah, that's awesome. Jeez.
Which
In
is
Soviet
pretty
Union, you don't eat
interesting.
spiders. Spider eat you.
Ah.
Wow.
There's even been records of not necessarily of them eating eating a hummingbird, but there has been, and this is where I got into it, is there's been records of a dragon hunter, which is a large dragonfly, at the very least capturing a hummingbird with the intention of eating it.
Wow.
Oh man.
To the point where there is actually a picture, which I will put onto our social media with appropriate credit given. Now, the person who captured the picture did free the hummingbird from the dragon hunter. So it looked like it was going to try to eat it. It didn't want to let go of the hummingbird, and the hummingbird was a little shocked.
I mean, yeah, would you want to let go after you got the catch of the century?
No, I wouldn't actually. And there's actually been a couple
very unhappy.
Yeah, and there's been some thoughts of other types of dragonflies also, but this is the only photographic proof that we've had of a dragonfly capturing I think it was a ruby-throated hummingbird.
Wow. Well, when you first started out this topic, my mind went to I don't know how long evolutionarily hummingbirds have been around, but back to those giant 3-foot wingspan dragonflies that used to exist.
Yeah.
Back in the millions of years ago.
They
would have no problem catching a hummingbird.
Right? The millions of years ago time?
Millions of years ago.
Yeah, the millions of years ago. That's
perfect.
Well-known geological age.
Yeah. But yeah, I really wanted to talk about the different predators of these birds, because not only are there are some other insects and things that will attack hummingbirds, like bees or wasps, since they have similar foods.
But not to eat them, right?
Not to eat them. It's more or less to outmaneuver and attack them, to drive them off.
Right.
And feral cats, obviously, or outdoor cats also are pretty common as well.
Sure.
Another, not necessarily predator, but a way that they have been found as an enemy of hummingbirds. So there apparently have been reports of hummingbirds who have been impaled on the spines of cactus. And sometimes they'll get stuck in seed or that. Bleh. Sometimes they'll also get stuck in tree sap.
So they're accidentally impaling themselves on spines?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
not
horrible.
A shrike or something. That's
right. That was my first thought was a shrike put them
not
there. But if they were taking a wrong turn and ended up on a spike, that's not a good day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another one is anything with burrs, thistles or common burdock. Sometimes can also get ensnared and tangle them up.
Goldfinches, the same thing will happen. They'll get stuck in burdock.
Mm-hmm.
This is just turning into a "How do birds die" segment.
Yeah, a little bit. But I just really wanted to talk about some of the different predators and the interesting food chain that they're a part of. Because obviously, those insects then go on and get eaten by even bigger insects or mammals and things like that. So I wouldn't expect hummingbirds to really have. I never really thought about hummingbird predators before. But once I heard about the potential dragonfly hunter eating them and then frogs eating them, I could not talk about it. So that's my topic for today.
Amazing.
That's a cool topic. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Maybe one day we'll cover hummingbirds further because they're pretty fascinating as it is anyway.
Indeed.
My sources this week were Journey North, as well as the Hummingbird Society and the Ruby-Throated Org, which sounds... it's Operation Ruby Throat, the Hummingbird Project. So they were really cool and really helpful this week. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, it'll be Victoria.
Hey, we're back. My story starts out in March 2009, and Michael Spaulding was close to completing his goal. Michael is a marathon swimmer, and he wanted to
so
swim
not a
all
basketball.
of the...
Got it.
No, not that Spaulding. He wanted to swim all the channels between the main Hawaiian islands.
Oh, wow.
And
cool. Okay.
Okay.
yeah. So the last and most difficult was the 30-mile long channel between Maui and Hawaii, which is challenging not only for its length, but also for significant winds that can occur there. And you kind of have to pick your conditions really well, pick your night. And you have to set off in the middle of the night to be able to complete the swim in good weather. So he had set off in the middle of the night, and he had a kayak. You can tell this is not going to end well, right?
No, it
I'm
is
just
not.
already. I like going for a dip in the water. I'm not. Oh, but no.
Yeah.
30-mile swim sounds awful.
Through eel-infested waters.
Oh.
Well, hang on. So he had a kayak that was going alongside him and a bigger boat that was accompanying him, for safety, food breaks, etc. So as Michael was swimming, and there was some issue with the boats not being able to see well, and so they turned on their lights. Not too long after that, Michael started feeling some creatures bump up against him.
No.
He thought they were squid, but he was, he's feeling kind of freaked out, and he felt he just had to keep going. And suddenly he felt a sharp pain in his chest, just to the side of his sternum. And he yelled out, and he started swimming for the kayak to get out of the water. And as he was getting out, he felt another pain in his left calf. And he hauled himself out and discovered that the bites consisted of perfectly round chunks of flesh that had been scooped out of his body, about 2.5 inches in diameter.
Yeah.
3 centimeters.
Shouldn't turn those lights on, huh?
Horrifying. Yeah, clearly
so Michael knew immediately that he must have been the victim of a cookie cutter shark.
No, now I have to take this off my list. Oh, they're so cool. Oh my goodness, I love those.
They're so cool when they're not taking chunks of flesh out of your legs, but yeah.
I mean, yeah. I guess. It's just a little chunk.
Yeah, it's just a little bite.
A little nibble.
Pound of flesh.
Exploratory nibble.
It's just a flesh wound.
Only a flesh wound. The cookie cutter shark is Assistius brasiliensis. It's also known as the cigar shark, which tells you its approximate body shape. To look at, it's not especially fearsome for the most part. It's only about 42 to 56 centimeters long. That's like 16 to 22 inches.
They're so cute.
It's got, it's kind of small fins. It's generally brown in color, and it has a dark band on its, what you could call its throat area. It stretches more or less from gill to gill. So it is also bioluminescent.
Oh, wow.
The
cool.
The entire underside of its body is covered with photophores, which are small luminescent organs. And so the entire underside of its body, except for that dark band that I mentioned on its throat. So its mouth, though, I am going to show you a picture.
Okay. Oh,
you see that?
Gosh.
Oh,
those look sharp.
Yeah.
Now,
so it has these kind of rubbery lips.
Yeah, it looks like it wants to give you a big smooch.
Yeah, and its teeth on the top are pretty small.
Yeah,
it's
kind of
got
the
a bit
bottom
of
look like an actual like the teeth from like a saw that is just bent.
Exactly,
Indeed.
like a big wood saw.
Yes, just so. So the cookie cutter shark is mainly not a predator, although apparently does sometimes take squid and other smaller creatures. But it lives mainly as an ambush ectoparasite, which basically means it waits around until a large creature gets close. It could be a larger shark, a whale, an orca, a large fish such as
a
tuna,
man swimming across
the occasional
30 miles.
unlucky human. Yeah. Then it lunges forward, suctions its rubbery lips onto the flesh of its victim,
No.
digs in its saw-like lower teeth, and then quickly rotates its head from side to side, back and forth until it dislodges a round chunk of flesh.
Gosh.
Like,
God.
haha.
That's
Hence
horrifying.
cookie cutter.
Do you have any sense
Yeah,
for how
that's
deep,
cookie
how,
cutter.
how
I mean,
deep
that's
this
how you
wound is?
do.
Well, so yeah, I'm getting to that.
Okay. Okay.
But I can tell you now, the average size of the bites is 5 centimeters across and 7 centimeters deep from one source that I read.
Oh,
So,
that's
like, fairly
deeper
deep.
than across. Okay, I was picturing like
Yeah.
wide and shallow, but it's smaller and deep. Okay, yikes.
Yeah,
Which,
I'm a
I
little
mean,
unclear on that because,
Personally,
Michael Spalding
Yeah.
said that the cut was only like 3/4 of an inch deep, but maybe
Okay.
it didn't get like its full
Yeah.
amount out of him. I don't know.
Well,
Wow.
and maybe like him moving and everything and like actively getting out probably impacted
It
that
wasn't
too.
laying there
But,
like, go ahead,
I mean,
take a bite.
Yeah.
have fun. Because I mean, if you are
Well-
going to be a little okay, everything is going to be moving, trying to not get a bite taken out. But if you are
Yeah.
a cookie cutter shark, you would want to go a little deeper at the very least, so that way you get more of like the meat and the muscle rather than like
Right,
maybe the
right.
blubber or anything like that that might be on the outside layer. You know?
The skin.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Yeah.
point.
Well, yes, and you kind of edge on to a good point, which is like, why would animals come near to a cookie cutter shark?
Can't see it.
And well, the cookie cutter hunts at night. It spends the day, they believe, not a lot is known about this animal, but they believe it spends the day deep and then migrates to the surface, closer to the surface in the evening.
Interesting. Okay.
And so you remember that dark band on the shark's throat that I mentioned?
Right.
And the luminescence. So it seems that this lighting scheme actually helped make it invisible against the light of the night sky,
That's so
except for this
cool.
dark band,
Okay.
which might resemble a small fish.
It's attracting other critters up. Like it looks
Yeah,
like
they
a
think
small
that
fish, so it comes up.
I think it's a lure. Yeah,
That's so
exactly.
cool.
I gotta imagine
then,
if a big enough thing is coming to eat that fish, though, it's gonna eat you. Like,
Well, I mean, they're
Well-
just taking a quick bite.
The shark is really fast, so it's coming up.
wow.
The dolphin or whatever is coming
Mhm.
up, and the cookie cutter just like twists around and bam,
Bites it.
sucks itself onto the side and takes its chunk out.
Ugh.
So
It is
cool.
apparently quite common to find whales, dolphins, seals, sharks, rays,
Right.
and other large fish with one or many, in fact, round scars indicating they've survived a cookie cutter attack.
Oof. And swimmers
Oh,
apparently too
yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare for humans to be attacked.
Sorry, swimmer.
Don't go swimming in
Swimmer.
a deep Hawaiian channel at night with lights above you,
mean, probably
basically.
not.
Pretty much.
That's the
Yeah.
advice, but yeah. But, as you might expect, bites seem to be more common on weakened animals.
Mm-hmm.
They've also been known to take bites from submarine sonar domes and other equipment.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
And, as I mentioned, human bites are pretty rare. Most of the reported ones come from shipwreck survivors.
Mm-hmm.
There's one freaky story about an underwater photographer who was swarmed by a school of them. So apparently they sometimes hunt in packs, which is a
Cool.
little bit of a disturbing
Nope.
thought that
Don't
I'm going
like
to leave
that.
you with.
I think it's cool. That's so much fun. I do have to take this off my list though.
I'm not too surprised that it was on your list, Rachel. My main sources this week were there's a webpage from the Australian Museum that was good, an Atlantic article by Alexis Madrigal from 2013, and the Shark Research Institute.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thanks, Victoria.
Yeah.
Anybody up for a night
Well,
swim?
it was no thanks. That is a really good song by REM, though. Night Swimming. Excellent song.
But it doesn't involve any cookie cutter shark bites, to be
No,
clear.
no sharks.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
See you then. Bye.
Thanks everyone for listening to today's show. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and we love sharing this strange world with all of our listeners. If you would be so kind as to leave us a 5-star review, that would be great. It lets other lovers of the strange discover the show. You can reach out to us on social media by searching for Strange by Nature Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can send us an email as well. Our address is contact@strangebynaturepodcast.com. If you want more information about the show, you can also check out our website, which is strangebynaturepodcast.com. Until next week, get outside, stay curious, and embrace the strange.